can't I just use Word document to write my screenplay? Well, yes you can. You can also move 50 people with a motorcycle, but it's much more cost, time, and energy effective, comfortable, and safer to use the bus. How screenwriting software can revolutionize your stories on this edition of Writing Right. Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Scott Brannon. I've written several different screenplays, and that's kind of why I'm doing this, is because I've seen firsthand just how this software can change what you're writing. The Czar of Hollywood is one of my creations. It's a musical comedy feature. Million to One is a romantic comedy. Deep Within is sci-fi, a teen adventure comedy I wrote called World Peace, and then also Countdown, which is my latest creation, which should be filming sometime in 2021, starring Cameron Arnett and being directed by Justin O'Neill Miller. So let's take a look at the big picture. What I want to do is I want to give you a quick few overviews of how screenwriting software can revolutionize you. Now, these are just some quick points, and then we'll go back and we'll fill them in detail. But just to kind of get you an idea, the first of which is it conserves time for your creativity. I don't want to spend time formatting. I don't want to spend time figuring out where my action and the character needs to be indented to, and if I got a parenthetical or something. I just want to be able to type and put it on there as fast as I possibly can. The screenwriting software allows me to format quickly and correctly so that I'm not worrying about the technical aspect, giving me time for the creativity, which is vitally important when sometimes you're like me, I'm sure, where you just kind of, as fast as you can write, as fast as you can type, it comes out. It also can help with your character development and your character arcs. It does that through reports, and I'll show you how those reports can help you identify individual characters and how it can help you in making them truly be the best character that they can be by looking at just that specific character and focusing just on that one character at a time. You also have idea and structure organization, which is invaluable when you're writing a plot. It does that through the beat board, and I'll show you an in-depth concept of what that beat board can do and how it can be manipulated and changed and everything for your particular script. It also has the ability to help you in the dual view comparison to help with your story organization. When you can see this and this side by side, you can kind of make decisions and changes, and you can do it very quickly, and that also helps with your story development. Continuity. That's always a tough one, to be able to make sure that everything is always consistent. By using your scene view and your index card view, you can see several of these things again side by side, but now you're just seeing just the scenes in comparison to your script or the scenes in comparison to the beat board. Makes it so much easier and kind of lets you see an overview of your script. In pre and post help, it can help you in how you save your script, whether it's like PDF form or in the actual final draft style. It helps you register your script with the WGA, and also helps in filming because you can print out certain parts of your script for, say, different producers or the director or maybe even the costume and makeup artist. It has all of those kind of features in there built in to be able to help you take your script from script to screen. Also, it has a collaboration mode, so if I have someone that I am working with to work on my script, whether they're across town or across the country, we can both be working on the same script at the same time and see the changes that each other is making. All right, safer means of workflow definitely can happen by moving scenes in such a way that keeps that scene together and intact. If you've ever had to try to cut, copy, and paste on a Word document and you want just this part of it to go to this part so you can paste it, and you do that and then realize, oops, I forgot these two lines or something, and now you're reading your script back and you've got these two extra lines that are sticking out of nowhere, and like, where did that come from? Oh, that was supposed to go with that scene. I should have put that over there. So it allows you to make sure that all of that is consistent, and that is invaluable when you're writing your script. So that's just kind of the big picture. Let's now start looking at some of the details. Formatting is very important because it makes sure that you're keeping within the guidelines of the screenplay industry. 1 page equals 1 minute. When you're properly formatting your screenplay, you will have a scene heading. That scene heading can be something as simple as interior, doctor's office, day. That tells us where we are, and the time of day, which is important for continuity later on, and also tells us if we're interior or exterior. That's very important. You have an action, which is match cut to Michael's arm. He sits on the exam table looking at areas of discolorization. A doctor enters the room holding a medical folder. These are the types of actions and the things that we need to know as we're reading the screenplay that would be being seen, not necessarily spoken, but the audience needs to know that by seeing it. We need to know that by reading it. Then there's a character. Obviously, all your different characters. Sometimes I will start with a character. Instead of having them named an actual name, I will name them main, as in the main character, or friend, as in a friend of the main character, and then go back later and fill in the names according to the type of personality that I've come up with, stuff like that. Then there is dialogue. Dialogue, of course, is what the characters are speaking. Dialogue is very important. In fact, I think it's the one thing that a lot of Christian playwrights don't seem to get very well. They kind of talk in churchese or Christianese instead of using real dialogue that people would actually say. We also don't always speak in correct, full sentences, as I'm probably a good example of while doing this program. What we have to do is find the correct things that people would say, their correct dialogue, their correct dialect. Maybe they have an accent, maybe they have some things that's a little quirky about them. Whatever it is, that needs to be consistent throughout your screenplay. The parentheticals are things like the doctor walks in, confused. Michael says, "I feel perfectly fine, healthy, except for the psoriasis." So it's not something that we're going to be able to maybe see, but we should be able to see him act in such a way that we would know that he's confused, or maybe deliver the line. But the actor would need to know how to deliver that line before he says that line. That's what a parenthetical is for. Then, of course, you have the shot. Most of the time, you as a screenplay writer will not need to put in shots. Only put in shots if it's very specific to the actual scene or to the plot or what's going on. For instance, if you're writing a thriller and you don't want to reveal the identity of someone right away, then you might need to put in some specific shots that tell us that it's obscured or his face is out of the picture or something, so that we know that it's not being seen. But other than that, it's really not your job to do that. That's something that your director and your cinematographer would work on. A couple of the features that I really like about Final Draft is beat board and story maps. With these, I'm able to take a virtual non-linear look at my script like I have here. It's kind of like a tabletop that I can get above it and see it just as you would on a regular tabletop. You can sort all of your things out, put them out there, arrange them, move them, change them, pull them off, throw something away, add something in. Maybe whatever you're working on, you pull that closer to you. Same exact concept here. You can create new elements by dragging and dropping things, including pictures or articles or ideas. I also have plot thoughts down here that I put in, and P-L-O-T-T-H-O-T, I know it's spelled wrong, just because I'm going fast. It's just like whatever I think of at that moment, maybe late at night, I can go in, something you would write on a napkin or something, you can put that in here real quick, and then assign that plot thought to a particular place in your script by just dragging it and putting it onto your story map. And then it will make a small little diamond here, and I know when I get to that point in my script, it will remind me about that thought that I had. It's also a pre-script idea generating platform. It allows me to think about all of the things in my script that I need to know. And people are going to find this out throughout the script, but I need to know it right up front. For instance, down here, I've put in some of my characters, whether they're a male or a female. This is from my screenplay entitled World Peace. There are 12 main characters who are the protagonists, and I have 2 antagonists, and I have to try to keep them all straight. They are from different countries, they speak different languages, I have all of that down, I have their different names, I have their ages to help me know who's who and what they're doing. All right, I can set target script lengths depending on my genre or a particular client. Up here at the top, we have this story map, and I can preset, as you see there's these purple squares here, and it tells me where my climax is going to be, or where the falling action is going to be, or maybe at the beginning you're going to have you have that moment in time, the dramatic question where the people have to decide, are we gonna really do this or not? And you can kind of place that on your script according to the time that it should happen in your script. This is a normal screenplay for a normal film, but there are other types of films that would need to have different formats. Okay, here's one I'm working on entitled The Carols at Christmas. Now this is specific to the Hallmark channel, and so Hallmark has a very specific timeline that you have to follow. I've put that on the timeline like this in a nonlinear fashion so that I can find different things in different places, and I also know I need to be at certain places at certain times. I've placed it on the timeline so that my writing can match and allows me to be where I need to be. For instance, there's the opening sequence in a Hallmark thing. You have to have at least 2 or 3 pages of an opening sequence. That's when they're going to be showing the credits at the beginning of the film, and so it just has to be there. There's a time where the lead female is introduced to the audience. Then there's the meeting of the male co-lead. And then there's where the two meet briefly, but nothing really happens. It's just a chance meeting. These are all things that have to take place because they're very specific at the Hallmark channel. And this is how you do that, is you put it in this format, in this fashion, and then now I can take this, apply it to my story map, and then start writing scenes from this. Okay, now we're back to world peace. You can drag and drop your ideas to a target page. Like I said, you can put in photos, you can put in whatever kind of information you want on this particular page so that it's there to help keep you up to date on what you're doing. I've written several different ideas and thoughts on here so that I know what I'm trying to do, when I'm trying to do it. And obviously not all these ideas are going to be used. This is just a think tank, and if the idea ends up not fitting into the change script that I have, then it gets thrown away or maybe used for something else. One feature that's really cool about this is that this beat board and story map can also be used in the split view mode. So I can see this beat board and my script, or this beat board and my scene view at the same time. All right, I've split my screen into two now. On this side I have my script, and on this side I have the beat board. This allows me to take my ideas off the beat board and start writing scenes based on those ideas. If for some reason I happen to get a brilliant idea in the middle of this or something, and I need to scroll over to something that would actually go maybe into the end of Act 3, I can do that easily. But again, this is just kind of non-linear, and is just to help you figure out the overall thing. If you want to start getting into actual scenes and your script, then there's also a split pane panel that you can do for that as well. Okay, so now we're split between our beat board and our index cards. This allows me now to take my specific ideas on the beat board side and make each one a specific individual scene. The nice thing is I've tried to do this and colorize it to help keep me consistent. So whenever I'm over here and my scenes, my cards are in blue, then I know that that is part of Act 1. Once I scroll down and I start getting into the yellow section, then I know that that is going to be part of Act 2, and then when we get to the green section, then that of course represents when we're over here into Act 2B, and then the red section is Act 3. I can also take these cards and I can move them. Say that I wanted to put this over here, I can do that. It will keep the color the same, so I know, oops, I've changed this, I might want to change that to green later, but what it's not also showing you is what it can be doing in the script at the same time, and that's really the cool feature. And when I click it, it automatically changes my script and takes me to that place that I clicked on for my scene. This allows me to do that anywhere. Anywhere that I click automatically takes me there in my script so that I can start writing in that particular place if I have an idea. The other nice thing is if I wanted to move this scene, I could move this to a different place and it would automatically move that in my script. If you've ever tried to cut, copy, and paste from a Word document, you know that that is awesome, because in Word, sometimes you don't always get everything that you need, or you thought that you copied everything, but maybe you missed a few lines, and when you pasted it, maybe you pasted it to the wrong place, or you only pasted part of it, and then you have these other lines that are dangling out there for some reason that you don't even know what they were from originally, but that's because it wasn't cut, copy, and pasted correctly. This allows you to make sure that you keep your scenes intact. It's kind of a safety measure to allow you to make sure you can do that. Your cards can be in several different modes. Right now I'm in the view mode for the cards as script mode. You can also have a summary mode, which is if you put in different, I don't have anything in there right now, but if you wanted to put in specific little details or maybe ideas in the cards, you could do that as well. I like to see it in script mode, and it shows me the first several lines of that particular scene, kind of reminds me what that scene is about. It also helps you to go through and keep consistency with your scenes. Say that you, let's see here, I have the second scene over here is the interior Charles de Gaulle International Airport, Paris, France, day. That way I'm going to go through now and I can easily make sure that I've had the same title heading for each of those particular scenes and make sure that I'm consistent in that I didn't accidentally put you know, some other airport or something, or oops, this is day, but now we're at night, so I need to change that part. I can just kind of think about those things. And if you moved, like if you move this to a different point, say you moved it here, it might have changed whether it's day or night depending on your script, and so you can easily make that adjustment. Another feature that you can do with your scenes is you can have scene view. That simply just takes your scenes and puts them in a linear time pattern like this, and I can just scroll up. Again, anything that's in blue I know is part of my first act. Anything in yellow is part of the second act, first part of the second act. Green is the second part of the second act, and then when we get down to the red, kind of more pinkish on this screen, that is my third act. Again, I can change these, I can highlight them, I can move them into different places. Right now I have some scenes that literally say placeholder because I know that there's going to be a scene there, but I haven't written that scene yet, and I've based that on the time length that I put on from my original beat board and my time mapping up top. Another cool aspect in the scene view mode is it gives me an extra line that's basically called a summary. Now that's not something that's going to be printed out on your script. No one else can see that but you, the writer. It just kind of gives you an extra little line of information to remind you about what's going on. I actually title the scenes accordingly to what's going on in that scene. That helps me remember. So I've flipped over now to the musical The Czar of Hollywood. The first one is Somewhere Over the Rainbow. She actually sings that in her school play, and so that reminds me that she's singing that song at that particular time. We skip down here, and there's a part where it says Dinner with the Parents. Very simple. It reminds me that that is a dinner with her parents, and that's the scene that we're working on. And I've assigned that type of summary, basic, just I guess my own personal title for that particular scene that just helps me know what's what. Lost in Translation, Spying in the Chapel, Go West Young Man, Excess reveals his distaste for country music. Like, these are just kind of things that make it easy for me to remember the scenes, and I think that's a really cool feature that you can put on there without having it print out when you're actually sending this to people. Another great feature of Final Draft is its ability to do reports. Now, if you're like me, reports were never something that I really appreciated in school, but when it comes to writing, this is very, very helpful. All right, one of the things that you can do reports on is a scene, which is very helpful to your production designer. These are the things that you would want to print out. It tells you where your scene is, if it's the day or nighttime, if it's an interior or exterior, and you can do that just for the scenes. It just prints out the scene headings for your entire screenplay all at once and makes those decisions very, very easy. Another thing that you can print out for a report is location. This helps your continuity director and helps you with filming. The location obviously is something that's going to be something that you need to know ahead of time so that you can scout out those locations if you are actually part of the film crew. But it can just be printed out, handed to the person that needs to be done, and it's good to go. The other thing that helps you with is keeping that consistent and the continuity of those things, so you can easily just read all of your different locations at the same time, one after the other, without having to worry about the rest of the script, to make sure that you have used the same titles, the same names in each of the descriptions. Another report that can be printed out is your character report. That's very helpful with the development and consistency of your characters. So, for instance, in the screenplay that I wrote entitled World Peace, one of the characters is from France. In fact, all the characters are from a different country, and so it's very important that I kept them all different and separate. The one character from France, I wanted to make sure that I was being consistent in not only what she was saying, the words that she was using, how she was using those words, and maybe some broken English occasionally. There's a section where she says something like, "Oh, that's very weird." And I looked at that and I was like, as a writer, I know that's what I want her to say, but there might be a better way for her to say that. So I made a character report it tells me just her lines. It excludes all of the other lines and all of the other information of the screenplay so that I can look just at Monique's character lines. When she says, "That's weird," it dawned on me, since I'm in French mode, maybe she would use a different word like bizarre instead. So I changed the line to read, "That's bizarre." That way it keeps it more Frenchy. I did that same concept for the character from Australia. He uses a lot of words like crikey and ankle biter. And so I was able to instantly go through and just make sure that I'm very consistent with the character from Australia. And I did that with each one of them because they have different languages, they have different backgrounds, and it was just an easy way to just look at that one character specifically at a time. And the other thing it helped me with was also their character arc, so that I could know, oh, I see from the lines here at the beginning to the lines in the middle to their lines towards the end of the program, their change in character. Another area that you can print out reports in is your cast. This is very helpful to your casting director, as it simply just lists all of the names of all of your characters, whether major characters or minor characters. It's all right there in order. It will also help you see characters that maybe don't have any lines but are there in a scene and are just seen but not heard. I don't get paid by Final Draft to do this. I'm not trying to sell you a particular screenwriting software. What I am trying to do is show you the advantages of using screenwriting software over just, say, Word document or some of the basic ones that are out there. I truly believe that it can help you write faster and easier and better. It can help you develop characters. It can help you develop your plot itself. It can help you come up with a much better film when all is said and done. And really, that's what it's all about. I'm hoping that this helped you in some way, and please tune in for some of the other ones that we have of these. For now, I'm Scott Brannon, and this has been Writing Right.